Right, shall we start then?
Yes.
Right. Hello and welcome back to the Cool Wall. I did that wrong because it's actually the Farmer's Cool Wall, isn't it?
Is my phone in there?
Wow, we've been flawless until that point. You've just ruined one hell of a take. Yeah.
Except for head lips and wet.
Is my phone in there?
Yeah. Lewis! Lewis!
I think that's the start we need. Hello and welcome back to the Farmer's Cool Wall. We are joined again by Jamie, Matt and Owen. And what's everybody been up to? What have we learnt since last month?
But just when you think it stopped raining, it starts again.
Yeah.
It's quite remarkable, really.
Does it stop?
Well, evidence would suggest no.
That was actually an empty glass when you walked in here.
It was. we did actually we had a leak in the workshop roof and we put one of those little bucket trug things down last week. And we managed to get a whole full one and another half. We haven't quite decided whether they were metric or imperial trugs, so it's difficult to know exactly how many mil it was. But it was
Wetters has been in 200 years, apparently.
definitely wetter than an otter's pocket.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, in the building, it's my one overlap with you lot. It is stupidly wet. The site, I won't name the name of, but you all know where it is. Apparently, we are holding, at the minute, 10 million litres of water on site to stop it flooding the surrounding area, which we're doing remarkably well, but that is a ridiculous... If we put our pumps on, it'll probably take about, I think we figured it out, like 23 days of 24-hour pumping to get it completely gone. We're holding that much, so we can manage with that much, but if we get any more...
oh dear.
Yeah, then...
What's that doing to the site underneath all that water? Are you going to have to basically start again? Or?
No, we build in phases. So we've pile matted half the site, which is the issue because nothing gets through it, and so the half that hasn't been stabilised in any way, we've built the buns to store all over that. But it's a ridiculous amount of water. That said, when I met with your drainage board to discuss where to put all this water, they said that they thought it was about a 1 in 30 year event now. They said that they've got modelling for 1 in 5, 1 in 20, 1 in 30, 1 in 50, 1 in 100. She said that the surface water flooding maps for 1 in 30 are matching what's happened this year. Wow. So we can now expect this more than... It's probably the worst for 200 years, but this is going to come about a 1 in 30 year event.
Oh joy.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this.
Yeah. It's a lot of water. I mean, this introduction should be funny, but it is depressing how much water.
To be fair.
I'm sure everybody at home is feeling it though,
yeah.
so it must be nice
But
to
then,
just hear everybody complaining.
Did I send you that map? Or did I put it on our chat?
Yeah. You
We are the worst bit of the
entire
the whole
country.
round the washing into the Fendt is just
We've had 200% the amount of water that we should have had in the month, and at the time that's normally through, we should be about 55% of the way through. So we're like a stupid amount, like 4 times more water than we've had. Had at that point. So
on our weather stations, we're over 100 mil for the month, and we've got weather stations for over 120 mil for the month. That was last week, and more rain coming at the end of this week. And it's
I think our yardman, he'd measured 200 mil since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's what I mean.
What's annoying is, if it was just we were trying to build houses, we could do it. We're trying to build drains. We are building the thing that would get this water away. If we can only get the water out of the trenches to put them in.
No, as I say, we're looking down the barrel of spring drilling way more than we were going to do, and you're sort of looking for a window to do it in.
Yeah.
It's not going to get done.
Yeah. Spring drill. We'll call it singular.
It's a drill.
Yeah.
Singular. One field.
Yeah.
And it's a bit. I don't know. What do you do? Are you issuing daffodil pickers with scuba gear?
Yeah.
No, we've sent them home because the season's over, and thank God for that. I've had far worse daffodil seasons because normally it's raining every single day, but it's somehow rained on the days we're not picking. Oh. So then you've got this nice change of you go into the field and it's just wet and sloppery. And everybody's just sort of paddling about with
Sloppery?
the waders on. Sloppery, yes.
Yeah.
This is a
Okay.
technical term in the daft picking industry.
Okay,
It's
good to know.
sloppery. So, we were peak sloppery,
Yeah.
but it was alright. Tractors made it through. We made some mud guards up on the 3-point linkage so we weren't splashing the trailers. And to be fair, we didn't drag much out on the road. So, I'd say daft
That's
went
funny.
well.
Like this
Was
weekend,
that
we
wet? It just slid straight off.
Yeah,
That's what I was
probably
doing with
that.
sugar beet at one point. It was so wet it was cleaning it as it came out.
apparently, and again, I'm not to give away what town we're in, but you could follow our site all the way to the hospital the other day with the mud we put on the roads. We got a complaint from a member of the public and was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but it keeps raining." We have a mud sweeper up and down the road, getting the getting the clods up, but you can't get silt off of out of the water.
Sweeper brushes are useless unless it's actually raining.
Yeah.
They just smear it around a lot.
Yeah, it stops it. It's not slippery. No, a motorbike's not going to go over it, but you can see where we've been.
Yeah, I think it just shows you're trying to do something. I think
Oh,
that's all
we
that
have
sort of-
we have a sweeper going.
Yeah.
We have a small sweeper, small medium going all day, like 8-10 hours, and then at lunchtime and at the end of the day they have a large sweeper go over because they can shift some stuff. But they say you're going to still drag the silt as far as it goes. Unfortunately,
ain't pretty.
no.
It's not pretty.
Yeah. I've had to put in a drain in one of my fields.
How did that go?
It went all right.
You had a beautiful day for it in the wet like that day. It was a lovely weekend.
It was actually a lovely weekend. Yeah. I've got a few clips of it which will probably go up tomorrow, which will be in the past because YouTube's weird. And
Because time.
time.
Yeah.
The 3CX did a perfectly average job of scraping up the concrete.
Was you helping?
No.
Oh right.
No, it's
I was
annoying
going to
because
come down, but
Yeah, I think
I
we
really
all
wanted-
intended to, and then none of us did.
I had to help wash a horse box.
For sale pictures.
Yes.
when you were free, it was when I was packed
Yeah.
up and had enough, so it just didn't really work out. But it was quite good fun. I had that McConnell backhoe, didn't I? And that was quite nice controls because the controls were right between your lap and you could rest your arms on your thighs. But the 3CX was a little bit more unwieldy because the sticks were that much longer and you had your elbows sort of up here. So it was a bit of a more awkward fit.
A little bit towny.
It was a little bit, yeah. It's the chicken song.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was exactly the same controls, but it was just that little bit more awkward because, like I say, the sticks were longer and you weren't really sat comfortably.
Right.
Which, considering the backhoe's a cheap little thing on the back of the 4610, which was awkward to use, I had to be wrapped up to the gills.
Yeah.
But the 3CX was just kind of uncomfortable. I wouldn't rate it for comfort. You know, if I was digging every day, this is one from like the 80s, I think. So they've had a lot of refinement, but it was all right. We got the water off, which is the main thing. Dad and me then decided we were going to put a pipe down the bottom and fill it in. So we filled it in, and then Dad thought it was a fantastic idea to drive over what we've just filled in while it's still wet.
Right.
So he didn't get anything stuck, but then the pipe stopped flowing water,
Right.
and he's
So
still
what you've done is
convinced-
you put the kink in the hose.
Well, he's adamant that he didn't.
Right.
Has he just thought, well, it must have just been something else?
Okay.
So, we've dug a new trench and we're going to do it again once it dries up. But
I was going to come, but we had all the girls this weekend, so I couldn't really escape. So we went for a walk at Blakeney, which was very, very nice, and a picnic in the back of the new car, which is big enough. It is bigger than a tractor.
Yeah.
I bought a Tiguan Allspace. Have you seen it? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I see you drive by.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. It's almost too big. It feels like you're going around a tractor, and you can. But it's very nice. Very pleased with it. We went there, and then I got back, and I thought I'll just sit down for half an hour, and then I'll go see Lewis. And I fell asleep on the chair, so I didn't
Reached that stage of
Yeah,
life.
yeah. By the time I'd
Been for a day out, bit of sea breeze.
Yeah.
That was him done.
yeah, by the time I'd woken up, I assumed that you'd stopped because it was dark.
He's obviously
Yes.
used to being in an office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was up the coast on Saturday as well. To be honest, when I get home, I fell asleep as well.
How far around were you?
Well,
Did we drive past each
you
other?
probably weren't that far away from each other.
No, but we think we drove back about 2 o'clock. We'd gone for kind of a morning wander round.
No, we were a little bit further behind you.
No, right.
We were at Hunt Stanton about 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Oh, right.
Having driven.
But it was a very nice day. Wasn't
It was a lovely day. Real nice day.
Did you go look at my flats?
Yes, I did point out your flats.
They get cracking on now.
They are. There's another set of flats a bit further down the Promenade as well.
Yeah, we call them the Kit Kat because there used to be an old club there called the Kit Kat.
Oh, right.
So there's only I would say like 8 to 12 flats on that. But it's a big block.
Yeah.
But they're much bigger, like luxury flats being right on the seafront.
Yeah. Look, it's a fair lot of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about tractors?
If we must.
I think we should.
I don't know. One of
Shut
these,
yourself down.
a couple of these in tractors.
A couple of these aren't. We're already going off brief because some of us are playing checkers and some of us are playing chess. So,
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
well, it is a little bit. Although I think I'm going straight in with a strong contender.
Oh, yeah.
Turn the volume down. When I put this in the WhatsApp, I put this in first because you were all jealous and you can't even deny it. It is the Claas Xerion 3800. And we all love it. Iconic look, exhaust out the front, and I'm pretty sure they were all chrome stacked. Just brilliant. 380 horsepower on a Vario, huge pulling power, and it just looks cool. And then you've got the option, the cab spins round. Most farmers probably don't need that, but everybody's considered what you would try to do with that as a function.
Not what you'd actually do with it, what you'd try and do with it.
It's kind of going back to last time when you were on about the Unimog.
Oh,
You'd find a use for that feature.
100%. It's that. It's cool because it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of those tractors which has surely got a cult following at this point because they're just so unique. Annoyingly, there aren't many of them round where we are because most people, if they want large horsepower, they're Deer or Case or... They don't tend to go Claas around here, do they?
But it's interesting though as to why these aren't so. Because on paper it looks, it's brilliant. It's big wide tyres. Don't need the articulation, so it's a bit nice to drive.
Yeah, because they're four-wheel steer, aren't they?
Can you
so
have this in the cab with a third position, or is it 2 positions?
How do you mean, sorry?
Forward or backwards?
Oh,
No,
the cab.
The
Tilt.
cab,
Yeah, right.
you can have. I think we're spoiling the conversation for later, but
Yeah,
the
this
Big
is-
Brother,
Yeah.
you can put the cab
On
the
yes, you
front.
can- you can do that.
Yeah,
What's
it's
that?
not. It's not a button, is it?
A saddle,
It's
saddle track.
saddle
You
track,
can
that's it,
do that.
You
with
can
that,
do
but
that
that's
with
a significantly bigger bit of engineering.
Yeah.
That's a permanent feature.
Oh yeah, I know it's
But
not a
it's an
transformer.
option, yeah.
But I just didn't know if it was an option.
Yeah, it's an option. I think this is where, on the 3800, is where they first started doing them as saddle tracks, and a lot of the time it's for like your big slurry tanker boys and stuff like that. So you know you've got a big job on with them.
Yeah.
But
It's cool. Apparently quite prone to chewing hub seals out, which when we do it is very expensive.
I can imagine they are quite large.
But it's cool, isn't it? Can't really argue that.
They look kind of. I think they look like the future of farming. I don't know what it is, but they just look modern in the right way.
Yeah, they do. And like I say, I don't really know why if you would. Yeah, I don't know why more people around here didn't buy them. I mean, I know one farm around here had one, and then changed it for a John Deere.
Whether, because obviously for 380 horsepower they are quite considerably larger than, say, another 380 horsepower tractor. Sort of get the same horsepower out of smaller frame tractor, maybe.
Well, maybe. I don't know how much one of those weighs. Should have done some research.
I should have done some research. This was
I suppose with them you
kind of
can
last minute, but also
weigh a
late.
lot more because you can put weights on the deck.
Yeah, you
behind
can-
cabs
Oh yeah, that's
and
true.
things.
So you haven't got to worry about wheel weights.
Yeah, you don't
Everybody
have to
hates
put
wheel
wheel
weights,
weights.
really, don't they?
It's a proper systems tractor, and you'll be
Yeah.
running that on 900 tyres. I don't know if those ones could crab, but
They do.
oh, there you go. Then
They
you
do.
can crab. You can crab them.
Yeah. I watched plenty of videos.
I know the newer
didn't pull
ones
out
do,
any
yeah.
specs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of British videos about them though, is there?
No, very popular in like Germany.
Yeah, I found no end
German
of-
built tractor.
But
yeah.
I think for people in the UK that do have them, they just keep buying them.
Right.
So I think once you've gone down that road, you don't really want to look back again. But they, I don't know. Maybe it's due to dealership because, I mean, although we do have dealers, Claas dealers locally.
You go back
they
10 years, they weren't very prominent.
Well,
Were
they don't. Well, even now they don't really push it very hard.
We'll have a demo.
Yeah, I mean, say they don't. Yeah, we've never really had Claas push tractors at them. I mean, if you ask a question, they're good people to deal with, but they never. The product isn't like shoved at you like a John Deere or a Fendt or a New Holland is. Which in a way I think is a shame because when you look at it, the whole Claas range on paper really actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, if they're not trying to sell it, then people
So
want to
I
buy
know
it.
the 650s and stuff like that. They got John Deere engine in anyway.
Have they still got John Deere engines in it?
I think so.
Because they went for FPTs, New Holland engines in the. I guess that's just in the bigger ones.
Probably in the bigger ones, but
I know they used to all be John Deere. About John, it used to be John Deere engines and massy back ends. So
Didn't know that. Yeah. But if I won the lottery, that would probably be one of the first things I hunted down, and we would definitely all go on a road trip because you can only ever find them as imports. So
slow chug back across Europe, joining a few protests on the way.
Oh, yes. We're getting topical.
Yeah. Which we didn't do in the topical bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we've just done the British thing and moaned about the weather.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. We are not a stereotype until we are. Yeah.
Yes.
What do we think?
It's
This
easy.
is going to
It's
be cool,
cool,
isn't it?
isn't it?
It's gonna be cool.
Get it up there. Thank you all.
Well, I don't know if mine's the natural successor, just to get it over and done with quite quick.
That's what I do. It's on my fingers anyway.
What she said?
That's what she said.
German.
Claas, as in the Norfolk spelling.
Glass.
Claas. Ah, there we are. He's finally got one of his ones on the cool wall.
Yeah.
Yes. And you were all mad when I put it in the group chat.
Well,
Deal with it.
as I said, we'll go straight on to mine. I was mad because I didn't look at yours, and then I looked when I went to put on the 5,000 and seeing that you'd already done that. So I was like, oh, are we going to end up talking about two very, very similar tractors? But I was convinced by Owen that there was enough difference between the two.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, tracks.
Yep.
Well, yeah, the tracks alone. Oh, I've gone backwards. Oh, where's that?
Oh, that's his other option.
That looks like Lincolnshire to me.
I just don't do technology.
You and technology.
What were you trying to do?
No, I was trying to pause it
Try and-
and point out the reasons why we've got this one in here is separate.
If you hold on, it gets to a better.
Hang on,
shot.
if you press space.
Oh, God.
Go on. Wait,
There we go.
it's just... No.
Yeah, I can't see that.
Yeah, hang on.
This is more for
yeah.
editing, Lewis, to sort out anyway.
Trackers.
Yeah.
The thing that the Xerion has been missing.
Yes.
Tracks. But interestingly, not for standard Claas track.
Are they not? I always assumed they
Well,
were.
they are Claas tracks, but a Claas track does not usually anti-triangle.
I know they're big believers of flat track, aren't
They
they?
are
Such
indeed.
as the combines,
Indeed.
which this is one
In
next to.
fact, you can see, there we go, if you zoomed in, you got flat track, normal track. So they've gone for the triangle track. And again, we should have done some more research as to why they've done that. But who cares, quite frankly, because it looks
Cool is not about facts.
Indeed.
Cool is about feelings.
Because it just looks cool. I mean, look at it. A bit,
I mean, I don't know how practical the flat tracks would be on it.
probably not very. I
You'd
mean,
probably lose a lot of
'Cause-
ground.
although they do have
Yeah,
them on
ground
the they do have
clearance.
them on the Axion, don't they?
Yeah, just as rear wheels, though,
Yeah.
don't they? I suppose because the
Your
flat
front
ones
wheels
are
are
long.
closed, aren't you?
But the thing I find interesting now about these two is, I think the big one of these is it's over 600 horsepower. The
Yes.
380, you could just, like I said, you could, in your mind, you could justify having that on a sort of medium-sized farm. 380 horsepower isn't out of the way, so it's still quite a really good tillage tractor. It's not massive, but this is a big tractor.
And to sound like Clarkson, that's why it's really cool.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
we're not disputing the coolness, but we're sort of, I just, it's more of a point on how
Practicality.
big is these things going to get.
Yeah.
I mean, how much weight and power and stuff do you need to do these jobs?
And of course, this is the
Saddle track.
saddle track that we mentioned earlier.
And say it's but
they're all getting like that though, aren't
but
they?
yeah, I mean, look at this for example. This is slurry spreading, and that's going to be. It might be a 36 metre boom, or at least
It does look
or
more,
at least a 30. But look at that. You've got all that weight through that ground, and yeah, okay, you've got big tyres and all that kind of stuff, but you still wouldn't want it running over your foot.
No.
And
But
it's,
the neat part is as well, that's crabbing if you look closely.
Yeah.
So it is spreading it out a little bit. You're not just a single track profile.
They have
that
variable.
one isn't.
They have the variable tyre.
and yeah, they do have the variable tyre pressures and all that kind of stuff, but it's it's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not disputing the fact it's cool. I'm just disputing whether it's actually still a good idea.
Yeah.
That setup, I do agree, probably not for everyone because there is a lot of weight. But we go back to the standard idea of it's a big tractor with big horsepower for draft. There's a lot to be said about this tractor.
Yeah, but no, I think there is. But I think they ought to still be making the 350 horsepower one.
Oh, I agree. The
Good stop.
Good
There
stop,
you
yeah.
are. Wow.
There you go. Now
that style
cool.
of chassis with the mid-mounted cab,
yeah.
you know, I mean, we've still got mid-mounted cabs with the JCBs, but we haven't got mid-mount in a larger frame. Like your 4220s, they're a mid tractor, but we need something in between mid and large, and that's where the 3800 sort of came in.
I think
Am I waffling?
but yes, because I think JCB with that 8330 would strongly disagree with you.
I suppose that is bigger, but it's not the same platform still as what the 3800 is.
I suppose you ain't got the four-wheel steering.
No, you haven't got the four-wheel steer. That's where the difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
There is
there's-
platform differences.
There's a,
Yeah.
but I think there's a big space for a tractor of that style in that around that 350 mark, but they don't seem to be doing that anymore. I don't think you can get one less than 450 now. And obviously, big ones up at 600, so you are very much aiming it at the larger farmer and contractor.
Yeah.
And yeah. Well, I suppose that's where everything's going now.
Is there an argument when you're spending that much money on something that large that it's handy to have the, the system aspect of what they can do, or is it when you're buying something like
not
that?
many people are going to use that for the systems aspect. That is
Right.
purely a draft tractor.
Okay.
So you're not going to have many people. You'll get some, but not many who'll put drill tanks on the back platform
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
I was going to say the saddle track version. I think as Verdstat do like a hopper
Yeah.
to go on the back, and then
Yeah.
you'd like rapid or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's not going to be something many people
No,
are going to.
I
that's for
have
your
seen-
big farmers that are covering the acreage quick.
Yeah.
I have seen a version of this tractor where they had the cab twisty, because this does a cab twisty still.
Yeah.
That's the name they put in the brochure as well, the cab twisty.
Really?
Yeah, it's German.
Another technical term.
Yeah, it's German. He had the cab backwards, and where the cab is in the road position, he had a chemical tank, and on the back he had like a 4-row potato harvester. And I really should have probably gotten the clip of it, because I did think it was quite
Well,
interesting.
that's
to sell.
editing Lewis's problem.
That is editing Lewis's
Yeah.
problem. But, that reminds me, you never clapped for the sound.
Oh.
Thank God for that. But just as an idea, it's like, well, actually, yeah, you spend most of your day looking at your equipment. So I actually thought that was quite a good idea. He's obviously a large enough farmer to justify the horsepower and put a really good custom system up where he's facing his planter most of the time.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll run out of Xerion chat.
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we agreeing that
Oh.
Xerion is quite cool? I mean, we'll talk about the newest Xerion that was sort of announced the end of last year, which is, I would argue, it's still the mid-cab size, but it's a different tractor. They've changed it in a few different ways to keep up with market demand. But that's for another video.
Well, I obviously very cool, and I didn't have to.
competitors, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
It
I mean,
is
so
bigger.
now Claas has gone over 700 on the quad track, then
John Deere supposedly coming
Yeah.
out of one over that as well.
Yeah, I think.
There's a few photos floating about.
Yeah, that thing is massive.
Yeah.
That is never going to fit down a road round here.
Not in the UK.
Um,
Maybe we need a sound person.
is that a Britain's model fast track? What's that? It is.
What are you looking at?
Yeah, I would have said we'd have had a fast track on the. Have you got that one?
No, I haven't got that.
Well, he collects them.
I know he does.
I do collect those.
Leave it alone.
There is no
Take
flashing
that
light.
out with him.
It is.
Let's go home.
Anyway, after some technical difficulties, we all decided that the Claas 5000 was cool indeed. And we've just
Yes.
declared that something else was cool. Perhaps we'd like to tell the audience at home why.
Yeah, and it's nothing to do with the fact that we just filmed half an hour and it wasn't working.
We've only lost 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's pretty much my choice, and this. I'm not going to butcher the name even. Diamiant 2000. We'll go with the end. Chipper, self-propelled, just because it just looks awesome. Like it's got 4 giant logs there. It's just eating in as though it's like you're more than Weetabix.
What a monster. Now, did you know an interesting fact about
Yeah, this was
Go
the
on,
other bit you
Owen.
missed.
Yeah. You missed some top rate stuff, and then this bit. Yeah.
It all started because Lewis pointed out the fact when it goes down the road, it has 2 little wheels or 4 little wheels that does to take the weight off the axles. And
Yes, for down the road.
Owen got
Yes.
on about German road laws after that because it's
Take it
made
away,
in
Owen.
Germany.
Oh, it's because the axle weights in Germany are much stricter than they are in this country, so they can't have too much on the axle. So if you go out and buy a per hour,
No.
you have to have a little set of wheels on the back of it to sort of carry a weight. And if you buy a cultivator, like a top down, or a performer, or something, and it's folding, then the tines have got to have little curtains on the tines, so that they cannot be used for hitting cyclists, which would never ever happen. So yeah, fun little German fact there.
Fun little German fact.
The fact that the wearing parts don't wear out every 5 minutes when it's doing that kind of load is impressive.
I suspect you would be changing knives a lot.
Or chipper teeth.
Chip teeth, that's the word. I was looking. I said knives, and I thought that's not the right
No,
word, but
teeth.
Teeth. Yeah, I suspect you'll be a dab hand with the old nut gun.
Impact driver.
That's it. But whack on, whack off. So yeah,
Or unless you can take the whole drum out and you've got your
spare drum.
small little man in the workshop
Yeah.
busy putting new
Yeah.
teeth on while you've put a fresh one in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
To be
maybe.
fair, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
No, it wouldn't be. This is something we're doing on the potato harvester for next season. We're going to have it's a set of rollers in the front, but it's going to be brand new set sat in the workshop. So when they fail,
Yeah.
one out, one in, and repair it later. It's
We used to
Speed
have
and
to do that
efficiency.
with the tulip planter. The front boat on it would just wear out so much because we planted so much sand.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you
we had
do-
2
you do-
boats.
You do love planting tulips in sand.
Yes. It's very wet at the minute. Have we talked about the rain?
I don't know.
Yes,
Did
at the
it
start.
save that bit?
It might have done.
That's our personal thought. It was just a bit dusty. Oh, there we are then.
No. They look
Right,
cool.
we all
Cool.
agreed it was cool.
Yeah.
It's a shame that you guys missed out on that.
They
We
look-
won't do that again.
Yeah, they look like they could win a fight with Optimus Prime. They look like they could kill the whole Amazon rainforest in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That was all the good stuff.
Yep. Right.
Yes.
Right here. Now we come to one of my choices, and so far we've managed to get 3 machines straight out onto the cool section immediately. And now we are going to have one that is not.
Now, last time, Owen was self-claiming that you were a Fendt convert. You were very proud of your Fendt.
It was
Fine.
was it the first thing on the call?
It's literally
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
It
Yeah.
was.
The 926 Vario, that's where it started, is where you said about.
Yep.
So, what are you going to tell us about this one?
This, for those Fendt drivers and those who have ever known a Fendt driver, this is the 828. Now, when the 828 came out, it had a bit of the market to itself, really. 280 horsepower in a relatively small frame tractor, very versatile. Could use it on a trailer just as easily as you could ploughing, cultivating, whatever. Brilliant all-rounder. And when it first came out, it was marvellous, absolutely brilliant. And then a lot of emissions rules came in, and so they had to add AdBlue and SCR and EGR and many other acronyms that involve cleaning up exhaust emissions. And this was unfortunately the death of the 828 because it never worked properly afterwards. They are still fantastically unreliable. We had one at work and eventually decided to get rid of it after they had to put engine number 4 in it. Hadn't even made it to 4,500 hours. It spent more time in the dealership workshop than it did on the farm. In fact, you could guarantee with some accuracy that as soon as you got to potato planting time, it would have a catastrophic breakdown and would have to go for a little holiday for 3 months.
Do you understand the format of this show?
No.
Do you? It's a cool wall.
Yes.
Are you arguing that this is cool?
No, I'm arguing this is an absolute trade-in.
Okay. So we're going.
Yeah. This is an absolute trade. This is the first one in the trade-in.
I was worried he was going to be the first trade-in.
No.
Owen is decided.
As the first one on the cool was a Fendt, the first one in the trade-in is also going to be a Fendt. So all those people criticising me for hating on John Deere's.
You're goddamn right, but also
balance.
Again, I don't think. I thought we were meant to aim for cool, and then the rest of us argue it down. So, to annoy you, do we argue it's better than it is?
Well,
I think there is an argument that it is better than he's letting on.
In its defence, I will say that has since been replaced for us by a 724 and a 936. The 828 is still the better one to have actually driven. If you were going to drive choice, the 828 was better.
You really liked it.
Yeah, and it was to use it was the size was brilliant. Everything about it was brilliant, except the fact it never ever worked.
Right.
I liked it until it started breaking down.
Yeah. And it literally never ever worked. It was one of those tractors, again, hand on heart, one of the best tractors I've ever driven. I just wish I was able to drive it more.
Yeah. So you're calling it a trade-in because you literally traded it in?
Yeah.
Well, it was unusable for you.
It was totally unusable, and that's why it's got to be a trade-in. I mean, say all the manufacturers now offer that 280 horsepower, 300 smaller frame tractor. Fendt did it first, and if they'd spent more time getting it more reliable after the AdBlue came on, which was a bit of a dispute between Fendt and Deutz, which could be why they don't use Deutz engines in the new ones. They would still be the best out there, and they've been around for a long time. But so those AdBlue ones are just horrendous. There are some rare examples out there that have been up to 10,000 hours and never had an engine, but they are very, very few and far between. Most of them will have had 2 by the time they get to about 1,500 hours, and then they might have a little rest, and then they'll go for another 2, and that's just the engines. I think.
Did you have any other problems?
I think it's easier to list the things that didn't break on it rather than the things that did. It was like by the time it left in disgrace, it was like Trigger's broom.
Right.
There wasn't much of the original left. It has to be said before, when it finally died in a potato field, because for once we'd got excited. Hope was in our hearts that it's made it to potato planting season and it hasn't broken down. And the first day in the field, it was going fine, going absolutely fine. And then it started making a funny noise. and it didn't seem to be pulling quite as well as it was. And so we rang up the dealer and said, I think prop shaft bearing's gone. It's not sounding very good. And out the dealer came, diagnosed it. Yes, indeed, the prop shaft bearing has gone. Oh dear. Very professional chap. Changed it within minutes. Off you go. Said, just stay on that headland. I'm going to set in, see how we get on. I think it made it 5 yards before the engine blew up.
Brilliant.
And that was the end of that.
What actually blew up? Was it checking con rods? Or
No,
what was
actually,
it doing?
the final time was not actually. The final time was that the valve adjusters had not been adjusted properly
Oh dear.
and had come loose. And that was terminal engine failure in Fendt's eyes. So, yeah, she was no more after that. And it was replaced by a 936 almost immediately. With a slight flirtation with a 6250, but I wasn't really powerful enough.
Yeah. Because I was about to say, but you were in the middle of your rant, and it's rude to interrupt you when you're getting
flow.
passionate. But that is the direct competitor, isn't it? Realistically, it's the John Deere
Yes.
6250.
And when we had the 8 we had a couple of 6250s on demonstration, and they just don't pull the same.
No.
They really don't. The
Are
8
they a lighter tractor, or?
are going to be, pound for pound, they're going to be about the same. I don't think there's going to be a lot in it, but a gentleman who was the workshop manager at the time said that was the trouble with these. These would keep pulling when they probably should have stopped. And that was the thing with the John Deere. You could bog the John Deere down really quickly, whereas you struggled with that Fendt. It would keep going, and then it would kill itself. And it would, but yeah, no. Some people are going to say they love them, but I say we did try several 6250s, and if they had been as good, we probably would have had one, but they just never were. To drive it, perfection. To live with it, oh no. Oh no. Yeah. What a machine.
The hard part is, I don't think the three of us have actually driven one, compared to Owen, who's had a lot of well, I would say you've had a lot of experience driving it, but by the sounds of it, you haven't.
No, very rarely. I think we had it for 4 years, and hardly anyone ever drove it.
But
apart from to and from the dealership.
yeah. So our experience is quite limited with these tractors, except we know it's a Fendt. They've got the same joystick, all that sort of stuff that we like from the Fendt range. But you do hear other people say exactly the same about the 8 Series. So it does kind of go, well, from the operator's point of view, very much trading. So I'd like to argue that it could be a better tractor, but when you're not the only person that's had this history.
No.
You do have to sort of sit back and sort of go, well, if I needed a fleet, that's not going to make a good fleet.
No, I agree.
And the thing about...
Unless you have twice the fleet, and then you've always got a spare.
Yeah.
The thing I find interesting about it is that Fendt knew for a lot of years that these were a problem. And although warranty-wise, they stood by it absolutely falsely. I mean, for all the faults it had, it never cost the farm a penny. But they never addressed the problem it had.
Yeah.
And it's not a cheap tractor.
No, it's not a cheap tractor.
For it to not be usable.
And for it to be so widespread across the whole range, for them not to have updated it. I mean, obviously there's now a 728. I would suspect that the 8 Series is either going to get a significant upgrade in the next couple of years or disappear entirely. But they just seem to drag their heels over mending the real cause of the problem. But
I mean, it's despite all your, it's an okay track. It's never going to be cool, was it?
No.
I expect it's a tractor that moved through proud towards solid, and then trading through its first couple of months on the farm, and by the year 4 it was over here somewhere.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, it had lovely track. It had some spectacular moments. There was one time it blew all its coolant out of the top of the header tank behind the yard. That was quite good.
So there's some tricks.
Yeah, it would. You would. Yeah, just. fascinating thing. I don't think the diff lock ever worked at any point. It just never did. Many times it was fixed. And
Did you not get that as an optional extra?
I guess we mustn't have done.
Oh.
No. Yeah. Tyre inflation system worked half the time. Well, that was one good thing about it. It was an introduction to the tyre inflation system, which...
This is where they came into the Fendt brand, was it?
No, I think...
just
to our farm.
Oh, for your farm, sorry.
To the farm. And, yeah, any tractor we buy now we would spec with tyre inflation on it because it is just so handy. So from that point of view, it was good. And it was our introduction to Fendt. Arguably, it's amazing we bought another one after that one, but the other two are lovely and very rarely have any trouble. So it's very much just a one-off, really. But yeah, water machine, the good old days. Stood on the side of a field, waiting for the van to arrive. There was one particular engine failure. It blew a hole in the piston.
Oh dear.
And you could hear it knocking.
You can tell how often it broke down because normally if something breaks down, we'll text the rest of us. That broke down so frequently, there was no point.
It was barely worth mentioning. Yeah. Oh dear.
I'm not going to argue with you because you know it inside and out.
This is what I mean.
Absolutely.
Might as well just put it up there.
Okay.
Absolute trading.
Yep.
There we are. First one in the trading bowl.
I feel like we need to be doing like a salute, like it's a naval funeral or something.
Just get a scale one and just push it off the end of the table.
Oh God, I've lost him. And I never told him anything. I just wasn't ready, Marcus. 5 minutes would have been enough.
I thought I'd lost you, boy.
I'm right at the top, set me up. The Ford, please. So,
That looks familiar.
yes. So, I started off with a Ford 4610 when I was 16, just started at college, and that was my restoration project. And off the back of that, being a young teenager, looking at other ones in the range, it just became very apparent that the Ford TW35 was a big one. It was 6 cylinders, turbocharged, intercooled. I think it was like some of the earliest intercooled tractors you could get at the time. And they just look very iconic. I will admit, I much prefer the look of the TW15, which was the slightly shorter bonnet. I'm glad you agree with that one. Because as much as the long bonnet is iconic, and I bet you there'll be people in the comments disagreeing, the long bonnet is iconic, but I prefer the shorter bonnet.
Yeah.
But you speak to a lot of people that drove at this time. The Super Q cab, well, the Q cab, which is on the 4610, is actually still an alright cab for me. But the Super Q is where they really refine that into a really, like, predecessor to a modern cab. You've got proper sound insulation, you've got curved glass all the way around, well, not all the way around, the back window's fairly straight. It's where you're starting to introduce a lot of these more modern comforts, where you're starting to get curved windows to deflect sound. And
Was that on a power shift, or was that just manual?
no, that's just manual crash box. That is the one thing that I will say that the TW's flawed in. Why they never had synchromesh or anything like that is just ridiculous. But anybody who's driven one, and I did actually drive a 25 a couple of years ago, the crash box is actually very easy to double clutch. So they are usable, but they are in a bit of a wheelie. They are a bit of a weird one for, like, I think they're like 1, 2, 3, like that. They're a bit of a weird one.
Probably could have got better.
But yeah, I think they're very much an icon of the time. They've got an iconic look. They're very unique in the long bonnet. I mean, you put it side by side with some of the newer tractors, even in bigger horsepower brackets, and there's bigger bonnets out there now, but at the time they had an iconic look, they had an iconic sound, and they have still got a good following nowadays. And I just think they're good. And just because I'm a sad
Person.
Every swear word is said by you when you tell us not to
Tells
swear.
us not to swear.
Yeah, don't swear, we'll get demonetised.
I don't think I actually said not to. I think I just said we probably shouldn't. And then I
No,
just
I
forget.
think what you actually said is your viewers had complained.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
My viewers, my neighbours. Who farted? You
Person.
you scuds. I can really smell that.
It hasn't drifted.
Well done, you have to talk about it. We're working in a visual medium, and you still talk about the smell.
It was distracting me, damn it.
It didn't smell like.
Grow up. Yes, because I like.
Are you going to cut that out? How are you going to cut that out?
I don't know.
There's a short.
It'll manage it somewhere.
But yeah, listen.
Yeah.
Oh, it's choking you.
Between that
It
and
was
the-
bad. That's how silent, you hope it's not going to be too bad, and he's got, oh shit.
yeah, literally.
Person.
Yeah.
I'm just going to reset the record on just in case.
Was it a kebab last night?
2 curries in a day?
I know. Well, actually, no, there still wasn't technically 2 curries. It was a curry followed by Chinese,
Oh, right.
Why did you do that?
followed by a roast on Sunday.
He's living rich.
Yeah.
Anyway, back on
Yeah,
topic.
back on top.
Back on topic. I recently got this off eBay. I'm a terror for sitting on eBay and having a look at tractor brochures from back in the day. And this is a fine addition to my collection,
And toys.
which is the...
Toys. And toys.
But yeah, I've got a tie as well, which is Ford. Yeah, we don't talk about that one. No, that one, I will admit, is sad.
That's right.
What, as in a...
Yeah, proper tie.
I have a tie from a British wool board that was given to me. But
Yeah,
do you
see,
have
he's going to get the tie out now.
Well, we'll
He
talk
was
about
hoping to keep that hidden
Have
until
you,
I...
have you done
This
one of them
one
up
is really
since high school?
No, we
wedding
got
the
it
other
the
year.
other week.
Okay.
Hang on, how did you do
I'm
it?
sure he got
Yeah,
it the other
so
month.
far so good.
So far, so good. It's a bit scruffy.
He was very pleased to tell me that he'd got this off eBay.
That's because it's a bit sad. It's a bit short.
I've got written like Force 2.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of that.
Anyway, I better look good now.
Yeah.
You've merched up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've merged up with merch which came out in the late 80s.
So it's older than
Has this got a number?
all of us.
Yes. Born Publicity. Yeah. Anyway, back to the brochure.
Yeah, I'm sure we're all older than Google.
That's pretty good,
Yeah,
actually. I mean, even RPM at max lugging capacity 1600. That's still pretty good even now.
Yeah.
That is a cool diagram considering someone had to...
Yeah, draw it.
Yeah, that's hand drawn.
Yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Mm.
That's a skill.
You see, you've won him round now, Lewis.
See, this is what I mean. There's
You
such
thought
nice
Owen was going
literature.
to slate it.
It is going to slate it because it's however
It's
many.
won him round.
It's about 50 million tonnes for 195 horsepower. But
In the context of the day,
Yeah. Back in the day,
back in the day,
these were so popular they couldn't keep up with demand, so a lot of farmers had to buy John Deeres instead.
I thought that was because they were just bad at building them.
No, I think they were just slow.
Oh, was it because they were on strike all the time?
I think the
There
TWs.
was getting that perfection right.
Ah,
If you look at this style of chassis, I think the 7710s and up, which were that sort of larger, bulkier size, which then go into the TW range, they're actually Belgian built.
no, okay.
So blame the Belgians.
okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, you don't see pictures of pistons in them
No.
No.
in tractor brochures anymore, do
Yeah,
you?
but you don't get one that's like 10 pages long anymore, either, do you?
You don't. Very rarely get one at all, to be honest.
Look online.
Yeah, it's all online. You've
Well,
got none of the joys
It's a
there. Look at
confusing
this.
website.
Yeah. Although it has to be said, John Deere sent out a brochure. No, it wasn't a brochure, it was a calendar. It's been filed.
Nice. I was about to say somewhere down here I've got more brochures, but actually I better not get
I think a video of 4 of us looking at different tractor brochures might be on the limit of what your viewers might be willing to watch.
It might be a bit niche.
Yeah. Them diagrams are.
Oh, this one's a folding.
Oh, hello. Look at this.
Little page spread.
Look at that. We're just starting to get into air suspension seats.
Centerfold.
Cool.
Look at that. Amazing. Got a performance monitor. It's got a man who stands on the back and monitors your performance.
Does that perform?
Ooh.
Yes or no?
Dual power.
Don't
Dual power.
be very careful with that middle page. I can see it. I can see it fault bending. I can see him crying.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. I would. Yeah.
Wipe my tears.
With your tie.
I thought you was going to say it was going to get stuck together.
No.
If I get to the end of this and the sheets are stuck together, I'm not going to be happy about it.
Oh dear.
But look
No,
at
it's a
that
Ford. It's not a dare.
Look at that. Somebody hand drew this.
Yeah, it is incredible.
It is pretty cool. You can see why I just sit on eBay sometimes and watch
I
them.
didn't used to wear dealer boots in the day.
Are they expensive? That's a good condition.
This one's a really nice one, so I think I paid about 20 quid for it. But normally I do like a maximum bid of a tenner.
Right.
If I lose it for a tenner, I'm not too fussed, but most of them go for about a tenner.
Amazing.
But this one obviously a bit more
that's a.
nice. I was willing to throw a little bit more at it.
How many have you got?
2 ring binders.
Oh right.
Foxing.
Collection.
It is a little bit of a collection.
I would. I had impressive haircuts back in the day.
Ironically, the
Or he
collection
only had a
started.
shirt on.
The collection started when I
shirt
got
on top.
10 series, which is exactly the same brochure, but obviously this is tailored to TW and that's 10 series, which is really interesting. I've got a few others. I've got other makes and stuff. I recently got one for a 4450 John Deere, which was quite a nice one. But definitely crown jewel of the collection is this one and the 10 series one.
It's 12.3 tons before you've even put any weight on it.
Just in case.
What the heck?
Yeah, but the best bit is you see people
Just
that
in
still
case
put
you
wheel
want to put
weights
that
on them.
heavy cultivator on the back, you've got enough weight in.
The thing is, though, you hear stories from people that used to do
It's only
plowing with these
140
back-
horse.
You're looking at the 25. Look over at the 35. Come
Yes,
on.
it says we don't like to say how much that weighs.
Were you about to say you see people ploughing with?
Anyway, back in the day, people would be ploughing with these, and
They're
you'd
just
have
undoing the damage to the ground that they've just done. That way. Yeah.
yes. But what they'd have to do is they'd probably nip back to the yard for their lunch because
It was 30k. They weren't nipping anywhere.
Well, they may not nip to it, but they probably have a Bowser come out to them. They needed to refuel halfway through the day because the front of that bonnet is so long because that's where the auxiliary fuel tank is.
Right.
And that's obviously the first half that drains.
Yeah.
So you'll be getting free
Oh,
ploughing.
right, yeah.
And towards sort of the
You're kind of
early afternoon, you're
Looking
starting
at
to
the sky.
get light on the front.
You'll end up like Clarkson.
yeah.
Don't put Caleb in the box again.
That was very bad. I did.
That was stupid.
It was.
We're disappointed in you. We're
There's
not angry, we're disappointed.
It's a 72 amp alternator as standard. You know, you don't get.
How
that
long
on-
are we going to look at this before people start touching
sorry.
off?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've gone
They
down,
already
We all want to look.
I've gone down a rabbit hole. Oh, you can get one on the back as well.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I'll show you the rest of the collection another day.
Please.
Perhaps we won't film that.
Maybe
But-
not. It is a bit.
Trouble is,
It's a bit specialist, but I do quite like them.
The thing is, I'm not massively convinced it's cool. Very
I
nice
think it'd be
product.
a stick in the wood.
I know. I'm just not convinced it's cool. I just don't think it is.
Can we put the brochures cool? Because
Yeah.
I do think this is cool.
Yeah, the brochure's yeah, the brochure's cool, but I don't know. I'm not actually.
Look at the images. They're cool.
Yeah. You'd have that's the kind of thing you'd have on the wall, not on the wall of a room you'd allow your girlfriend would be happy to sit in, but a room.
The kind of room where you've got lists on the wall of different tractors that
Yes.
you like and dislike.
Yeah.
that you share with 3 of your closest friends.
It would fit
That kind of
perfectly
wall.
into that kind of wall. But
It's a very niche kind of wall.
Yeah.
I'm concerned for these people.
now you see,
What about it don't you like, Owen?
You
Come on,
see,
spit it out.
It should appeal to me because this is a Dutch video and it's got the spotlights, it's got the Ford sticker in the roof. It should be a lot that appeals to me in this. But
The problem is he hasn't got a Michelin Man.
no, he hasn't got a
Yeah,
Michelin
that's
Man.
That's always the killer for you.
But I'm not
I
sure.
do think the Ford sticker alone is cool.
He's even got the little bit of black smoke out the
A
exhaust.
standard,
Yeah.
black smoker standard.
Well, they were dialed up quite well, weren't they?
So yeah, I don't know. I'm just not sure. I'm not.
Have you ever driven one?
No.
One day we'll make it happen.
Yeah, no. I
The
think,
Lewis Pies one.
yeah. Well, if,
The thing is, though, you can actually buy like some fairly ratty ones for about 7 or 8k on eBay, and I reckon there's a lot of budget in there to do one up quite nicely. Or you buy ones that have already been looked after well for about 20, or ones that have been tarted up for like 30 up.
but
It's ridiculous.
do you buy one then, or do you buy the long bonnet 30s, which came after this, had a better gearbox?
But you'll never find parts for them gearboxes anymore. That's the problem. That's where you start getting your ECUs and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I will be stubborn and say the 30, the like the A830s and stuff, they are different enough to the TW to say they are a different tractor, because fundamentally that gearbox changed a lot of what them tractors were doing. So with the 30 series, if you speak to anybody who has one now, the biggest problem you'll have is the gearbox, because it's the only bit that you can't fix at home. Because of the ECUs, they're just not available anymore on spare parts.
Okay.
If you've got an ECU, you've probably got another one on the shelf just in case, which has definitely cost you a couple of grand, but you've got to have it on your shelf just in case. Because if that ECU goes down, I think there are repair sites out there. I've seen it on forums. People have tried sorting it out before, but they're a ball ache. You can get the 30 series with I think it's a Synchromesh box actually. So there are those options out there.
Going through the parts for that.
But I'd say if I was to pick one or the other, 30 or a TW, I'd have to join the crowd and say TW's better.
I mean, it's iconic. I mean, that Ford with the black and the red, but I don't know. I still just think it's
iconic.
It's a good proud. I'm not sure it's cool. I'm just not sure. There's a lot going on for it, but I don't know.
I'd vote proud. Sorry.
Oh, you rotten bugger.
Yeah. It was cooler than you put on the tie.
And everything. I was the tie.
And the thing that's also not helping is you've chosen a video with dual wheels, and I'm allergic to dual wheels.
Oh,
Does it change at any point in this?
No.
What, honey?
half of it's not dual wheels.
That's why I haven't entirely swallowed up, but it's. But unfortunately, there's only one of us who's swallowed up about that video, and that is you.
Damn.
So.
I'll take proud, but I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
They are iconic, and I hope that the comments are backing me up on this one, that Owen possibly needs to change his opinion with a driving lesson in one.
But I hope. What I would hope that you've taken from this is that the 4610 is going to get either a big Ford sticker in the bonnet or a Clever sticker in the bonnet in the windscreen, because it needs one, and some more lights.
And more lights. Well, it has got the chrome stack.
Yeah, it has got a chrome stack. See, Mister, I'm never going to modify this tractor.
Yeah, but the chrome stack was better than the standard stack, because all the standard stacks had peely paint and it was fucking annoying.
And here's another swear word.
It just comes.
So that's you after looking at that.
Should
That's been clipped again.
Should we reset?
Yes.
Me.
You.
Should we go for the Land Rover?
Go on, be different.
Yeah. Well, we said that this was always about farm machinery, and that can include
Trucks.
trucks.
Yeah.
I've not really. Oh, well, I do have an opinion on it. Of course, I do. Everyone, since this car was announced, has had probably quite a strong opinion on it.
Well, it's been 4 years, but
Yeah, well, it has. Yeah, probably.
It's not
It seemed
exactly
like
off the press, is it?
no, it's not. It seemed like we waited for it for an awful long time, and now time's flown by since actually. But I thought it was still worth talking about the
Allegedly,
the
this
new-ish
is the
Defender.
advert. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What I've tried doing for a lot of these is if there's a genuine advert from the manufacturer, I will try and play
Yeah, where's
that
the
one.
car in this advert?
Oh, you've gone past it.
There we go.
Yeah. You have
So-
to wait nearly a minute in a 3-minute advert for the car.
I just thought it'd be a good conversation to have. Is the new one cool? I kind of want one. I don't know why, but
Sort of more of a fashion statement.
Yeah, I think that's the trouble. I think it is more of a fashion statement.
A lot of money for something that you could get do just the same, especially if you're having it as a farm vehicle, is too expensive, really.
how much are they?
I think they start at 40 grand.
They
Right.
do, yeah.
Whereas you could pick up base spec Hilux Isuzus for
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Japanese pickup trucks are going to be a lot more useful than one of those is. But
Yeah.
I think I think it's like if you had the money and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, then you'd.
I mean, it'll do it, but
You'd
you
have
wouldn't
one.
want to chuck all the cans of stuff in the back or plough
Yeah, I think
parts.
you'd be
and-
afraid of getting it dirty,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
I think they're really good. I think a really good opinion on this was when these were fairly fresh out. I think Harry's Farm had one on demo for a year,
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
he did quite a smart thing. Really, he sort of took the farmer's approach at it. He didn't go the full spec on it. He kept it as usable as possible, and he was using it like every day. And I loved his video where he'd had it a year and was then about to hand it back, where he pointed out the flaws, the pros, the cons. It's got some really good features which probably have been thought out for the farmers, but most farmers aren't going to buy one. Like, you've got little drain plugs in your footwell so you can wash it all out and be all lovely. But most of the like city goers that actually buy them probably never going to do that.
If it's not, I don't disagree with anything you said, but it's not the city goers' fault that they don't need it, and you can't. Like you can't judge it by the fact that it appeals to city goers as well.
Yeah,
But
I'm
I'm talking about it. Is it cool as a farm?
But I
Yeah.
think what you can judge it on is performance basis. But Harry did do that. Harry's Garage did do that review on it. But he also said in one of his other reviews, his Range Rover, he preferred using his Range Rover. His Range Rover towed better and drove better.
Yeah. And the clip from that video that I remember the most is, I know he had the 90, and the 90, even when it was still a aluminium box and a steel ladder chassis, you couldn't fit anything in the back of the 90. But this somehow had less space than the aluminium box. Was his sort of comments, which...
And there isn't a pickup version, is there?
No, and apparently there's no plans to either.
No.
Which, again, it seems like they've completely missed the market, because British farmers, certainly, there is a big following for Defenders. There are still Defenders that are still rocking about now that farmers just crave for. They really like the Defender because of how you can just bash it about and then you'll hit it with a hammer and it'll be fixed.
Yeah.
But I would say farmers were waiting for this, as we all were,
So
really.
You're not scared to scratch them.
Yeah, you're not scared to scratch them. This,
When you spend 40 grand for just a basic,
Yeah.
I think they
no
missed the mark.
options on it,
Yeah.
you don't want to be scratching it.
I think they missed the mark. If they had the real base model, I don't think they should be on par with the Japanese price. But when your base model versus your base model is 20 grand difference, nobody's in sort of a farming community is going to go, well, the base model of that one's that one. 20 grand's a lot of money when you're talking base model to base model. If it was 5 in between the base models, you'd probably have a bigger collection of it. But it's just where I feel like they've completely missed. They're probably not really worried about the lower end of buyers, people wanting the minimum spec, because they could have made something that was more affordable and had it with all the options that then make it a £100,000 car and very luxurious. But they didn't want to. They started it at 40 on purpose.
But I think
Did that make sense?
Yeah. And I think the other thing with that is, with the old Defender, you could mend it with a couple of spanners.
Yeah,
You
but
could-
we're in
you-
the modern age. You
and-
said
and-
earlier
and
about
you're-
AdBlue and DPF.
yeah,
we've left that behind.
Yeah,
haven't we?
what car can you still fix like that?
The old Ranger.
And where's that?
Ukraine.
I think as soon as you get into a car that has AdBlue, you've got more modern electronics, which, you know, I've been a mechanic that worked on AdBlue systems and that, but if you don't have the specialist tooling, which costs a fortune to buy, and there's probably a subscription attached as well, it's not viable repairing it for yourself. So farmers famously love repairing stuff. So you know, on a lot of the more modern stuff, you're losing a lot of people who can't repair stuff as much. I mean, you get your wear and tear items. Like if you've spec'd it with core springs instead of airbags, you could change your core springs. I'm sure there's not a sensor, but you're not going to fix an engine. But in the same breath, you're probably not needing to fix your engine because engines have changed since you needed to fix them. But, you know, we've got better engine reliability apart from on Fendt in our cars, haven't we? And I'm not saying everyone's better.
Yeah, no.
I feel like I've got a lot of mixed opinions on this car because I still feel like they should have really tried to include a cheaper alternative so that this is more accessible.
Well, I think that that argument's a little bit more relevant. I mean, Land Rover is a luxury brand, so of course they're going to run a luxury car. But the Ineos Grenadier, which was touted as the replacement for the Defender,
successor,
starts at 60,000 and is not tax deductible as a commercial vehicle.
Is it not?
No.
What's the point?
Exactly.
That's even worse offending.
Because the load in the crew cab pickup version, because obviously there is a crew cab version of that, the load in the back isn't even a ton.
And it's a weird space.
Yeah, and it's a weird space, and it's a weird door. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
so-
you can't get another row of seats in the
no,
back.
so it's so I just said that sort of argument is sort of more applicable to that. Is that there should have been a usable version of that one, but is a commercial vehicle. Whereas this is a commercial vehicle. You can have this as a commercial. You can have that all backed out as a van if you want to, or 90 van.
But they're still starting at 40,000.
Oh
for
yeah,
that option.
no, it's ridiculous.
I just disagree with that.
It's ridiculously
entirely.
expensive, but there is the potential to have it. They've given you a nod in the general direction.
Yeah.
But I would have said if you were going to have a commercial of anything, you'd have a commercial Discovery, not a commercial Defender.
I agree. I would say, if anything, it's a better successor to the Discovery 4 than the Discovery 5 is, because that keeps better looks-wise.
Yeah.
That's more of a
that
successor to
Land Rover
Disco 4.
look.
Yeah, you're probably. I think you've nailed it there.
Yeah.
It's the proper successor to Discovery 4.
Yeah.
But does that make it cool?
No.
I mean, you'd be proud to have one, wouldn't you?
Well, I would.
Probably I would.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you well, based on that price, once you've bought one of those, you've made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think 40 is too much, but to ever expect a luxury car brand, which does, because even the base comes with a fair few bells and whistles on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the technology in that you would expect on that car from that brand in the base model.
Yeah.
They're never. I think people who judge them as they should be a 20 grand car. It's just they can't make them for that kind of money.
No.
And I think the expectation, if you got in that and it was stripped and they'd stripped it back to what you get in a 20 grand car, remembering what you actually get in a brand new 20 grand car is not a lot anymore.
No.
You know, digital radio and that's about it. I think they're judged harshly. I think they do an awful lot. I do think they look smart. I think they feel. I've never driven one, but I've seen them. And I think they feel nice. I'm someone just about. Considering I haven't driven one, I probably shouldn't be as passionate about them as I am. But I do feel like they're cool.
And I think other people tend to look at the Defender with slightly rose-tinted glasses because they're horrible to drive. Would love to have one.
Yeah.
Absolutely would. Classic Defender, love
Yeah,
to
we all
have
would.
one. But they are horrible to drive.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd go so far as the best Defender is the one owned by somebody else that you can occasionally drive and then give it back. Because to live with, as you well know,
As I well know.
that will be easier to live with.
I don't know. Does anyone
yeah.
know what a new base Defender like 90 cost back in the day, kind of adjusted for inflation? I have no idea.
I think this is closing the gap. Was obviously the gulf between, if you were going to go to a bog spec 90 or 110 in the early 2000s, 1990s, and at the top of their range is a Range Rover. That was a massive leap, considering you're going from your sort of fully automatic, whatever it was, to a gearbox, but somewhere there is a gear, maybe. Which one's that one? It doesn't matter, it's taking it. And now, there's not going to be a lot.
I'd like to think it's proud. It's a car you'd be proud to.
I'd give it the lower end of proud, because for a farm vehicle, if you can afford one, that's brilliant, but I just don't feel like you're going to use it in the same way as a farm
I sat in a
would.
Dodge Ram the other day and thought that was the coolest thing ever. So, and compared to
Actually, I remember the conversation.
compared to that, this is definitely.
Yeah, but that's more like
proud.
a lorry, so you can see some practical to that. Yeah. I think we should. For me, I just feel like I've got a few mixed opinions on it, but we should just agree it does look cool. But it'd be better if it wasn't called a Defender.
I like the commercial ones that you see, the commercial 90s. I think they look really smart.
They do, yeah. Commercial 110s as well, yeah. If you get them as a commercial, they're nice. But it is annoying that actually the Discovery, which you'd think would be the more luxury, like going up steps, you'd think the Discovery would be a bit more luxurious.
Well, sure, cost-wise it is.
Cost-wise, the Discoveries are just a little bit cheaper. There's not a lot in it. But
Which is why I think if you were literally going to use it for work, you would have the Discovery commercial, not that one.
Right.
And the thing is, I think you see more Discoveries anyway, don't you?
The John Deere 33. I can say just based on this, like an iconic sort of model of the John Deere series throughout the years.
You know what? I'm going to go against everything I've said in the series. But I do actually think that's cool.
There's a lot of
one of them
as well.
Iconic when they went to the curved cab and everything. Sort of.
And weirdly enough, a lot of people get quite excited about like 49, 55s and the really big ones. I think they're a bit of a lump, but I like these and 36, 50s. I like them.
Well, that was the one question I was going to ask. Why did you pick the 33 and not the 36? Because if I was thinking of this chassis style, I'd think the 36.
I don't fully know.
Okay.
And as anyone else...
Just went for a curved cab John Deere and
That's the first one popped up.
It does look good.
They do look good. It's very well filmed, actually. This
Has
video.
anyone else, apart from me and Lewis, driven one of those?
no.
You've driven one.
Yeah, I driven a 3650. And now, last week, on my gearbox rant, this is
Last week.
yeah,
Last month.
last time.
Last time.
Now, this is where that gearbox sort of came from. And in this tractor, it is spot on. It is perfect for this tractor and for this cab. It just works. They are, that combo in that tractor, at the time, it was the whole thing was really quite revolutionary. And yeah, it's, I don't know, for me it's cool. After that, things went downhill significantly, but
Yeah, because this is where I think John Deere first had like a splitter box in, because you'd have it. And I always found that interesting. It was an optional extra, but they didn't actually give you anywhere properly for it, because you'd have the slot in the... It was kind of the early armrest. It was just to the side of the armrest. You'd have the throttle, which would shove all the way forward. And then at the back of the same slot, you'd have this little notch, which would just notch a couple of mil that way and a couple of mil that way. And that was your splitter. I always found that weird. They never gave it a dedicated little slot or a button, because it was like it was sharing.
yeah, I do. I don't know.
But I agree. That is where the power cord came from, really.
And in those, it was nice to drive. I had sort of many hours rolling with one of those, and they're just nice. You can't really say they aren't. And I would happily give that one first John Deere on the cool section. So it's a bit of a weapon.
Is this where you think they peaked then?
I think that's where their smaller ones peaked. I think after that they were. I think since then, they've been cruising along on basically the same idea.
Right.
Because, as we say, you can still buy that gearbox now. And there's not many other manufacturers out there still producing the same gearbox. So, but in that moment, in that tractor, that was quite revolutionary. It was bang up to date, and it for its time, it all worked quite nicely.
When did these come out?
80s.
Oh, right.
80s, yeah.
One that gearboxes.
You do have to admit that they were still on the same chassis and frame. They were just a lot tweaked. They were very different to the 40 series, but they were effectively the same cab, same chassis. They were just improved I will admit every part of that was improved.
Yeah.
But my biggest criticism of that style is who thought it was a good idea to get in through the front window? I will always stand by this, and I agree. Owen and I have driven those many times, and they are enjoyable to drive. They're proper old school. Give it a right boot and she's puffing your black smoke and you're enjoying yourself. But getting into the cab is always the worst part. Getting out of the cab is all right because you just sort of fold this door out the front and you leap down the side of the exhaust. But getting in, they're just so cramped getting in. But once you're in like this massive armchair, and it is a good, comfortable cab. But why? Why are you getting in the front door?
So where does the door hinge?
It hinges on the sort of side here, and you can see that sort of line there.
Yeah.
That is in line with the exhaust
they
and the
cleverly
air
made it
breather.
inside line with the exhaust, so you could still see down
Yeah.
the centre of the bonnet.
You weren't blind spotted,
No.
but the exhaust, the air intake, and the filler cap as well was all in line.
Right.
Which
So you only lost one.
one section.
Yeah.
So
the door hinges back round.
yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah,
And kind of goes over the wheel.
yeah. So I guess they kind of did it to try and, because like you look at the beautiful TW again, you're a lot higher up because you've got a door that has to come forward of the wheel.
Yeah.
Whereas the door is always going to be in front because you're the front window. I guess that's sat lower than this is my only reason I can think of
Did the door
as to
annoy
why
you?
they do that.
No, I thought the driving position in those was quite high. You are quite sat up when you're in one of them. But no, I've never. But I am very skinny, so.
Oh, all right, boast. And I'm very fat.
No, Jamie, we're very fat.
We're very cuddly.
Cuddly.
So, yeah. No, I like it.
So this is probably a really naive question. Is there a reason that's on black wheels? Was that something to do with that model?
No,
Or was that
it's,
just a-
it's what this
That's a
person's
custom.
done
That's
and
just-
they've put a straight through pipe on it.
Right.
She's been a bit tuned up.
Yeah.
I should imagine the fuel pumps had a little bit of a tweak as well.
Yeah.
We love a 10mm
And,
spanner.
It
and
looks
also,
a hell of a trailer turned on the back.
yeah, and
That's
also I
huge.
suspect that front weight is probably not dealer recommended
No, what is that?
as a front weight.
No, I mean, what's...
What are you looking at?
It's a strange...
It's just a big weight.
Right.
Brand of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't read how much it is. It's probably less than it looks.
I'd hope so, because I don't think
Look
that
at
action's really good. Yeah.
Oh,
Like a train.
Yeah,
Oh,
you,
so
see,
that
you
isn't-
can tell there's something been tweaked on it.
So that is offset slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all to do with so you could see down the centre line
Yeah, because
of
you
the
want...
bonnet. I guess for drilling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never had GPS back then.
oh.
So to see your drill mark instead of having to look round an exhaust all day long.
He just single-handedly destroyed the ozone layer when he just turned
He
there.
basically has. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the amount of smoke coming
Look at
out.
that bad boy. I don't know anyone who's got one anymore, to be honest.
Did you have one then?
No, I've never had one.
Oh, right.
My family came into Deers on the 10 series, which I tried to get on the call last time, but failed.
No, I think this one deserves it.
So where did you spend your time driving one?
When I was working up Norfolk. Don't know if they've still got one. But yeah, they had one. Spent a lot of his time on a pressure washer.
When you was out Fakenham way?
Yeah.
Right.
He spent a lot of his time on a pressure washer, but did do some odd jobs with it, rolling and that. And it was just nice. You couldn't really fault at everything. Whereas the 10 series and the 20 series and the 30 series, we're going into gear somewhere over by the wing mirror, that is all quite close to you. So it's, yeah.
Cool.
She's a honey. Oh. Is she going?
No, she's only going proud for me.
Oh.
I really.
Oh.
The thing is, we've got the 10. For me, the 10 series is on there in the crowd.
This is going to be it forevermore now. I do.
He's got one.
Nice.
Just
because the 10
this is it.
series
There is
couldn't make it.
no John Deere is going to go on called purely because the 10 series wasn't allowed.
Yeah, but you didn't allow them.
I didn't allow him.
Throwing his
Me
toys out
and
pram.
Matt wanted 10 series on there, and you
So
wouldn't allow
he's just
it.
throwing his toys
If
out.
if I had the choice, I would always pick the 10 series, but that is nice. I'm sorry, Owen, it's just... No.
I was going to agree with you. They didn't even ask my opinion, did he?
No, he didn't.
No.
He didn't want your opinion.
No, he didn't want
damn
my
it.
opinion. Again, I think it's a very smart tractor. It just doesn't give me any particular.
Bloody thing. What on earth?
I think
it's part because
they were John Deere's that we talked about last month.
800 kilos.
If that I would have put on call ahead of that.
Yeah.
that's a bit of a weapon.
I like it, and I agree, for
Yeah.
littler chassis jobs, because I still stand by the fact that you should, even if you've got
Postcodes.
Yeah.
600 horsepower nowadays, you should still have 100 horsepower just for kicking about and doing the odd job, because you'll still enjoy that era of tractor.
But
There's an enjoyment
Deer
factor.
on the
for me, the other thing about this is when I was little, the farm next door to the house, when they were doing combining, they had these.
Yeah.
Or that style of John Deere, wasn't exactly these ones. They had a lot of the two-wheel drive ones. But yeah,
Oh, here's a good contender.
I think when Dad worked on a farm,
Yeah.
he had one.
yeah, that is immediately into cool Fendt. Yeah.
Immediately. To all fence now
Subscribe for
sitting-
more.
To do all fence sitting cool now.
Except one.
The thing is, what happens when you get an average? Because if you get like 5 more in here, you've still got such a damning mark down
Yeah.
there, haven't you?
I mean, you've got an option here.
We don't need next edition.
Now something time for a little different.
Now, we've had some old tractors, very old tractors this evening. Now we're going to be bang up to date. Massey AS. Now, it has to be said, when it first came out, it was a little bit controversial because she looks a bit weird. But now I've had a bit of time, it's kind of grown on me. I actually really quite like it. And
What do you mean it looks a little bit weird? As in, that looks very boxy.
when you get the
relative.
side
the
profile,
cab is
Yeah.
cab is
Cab and the
huge,
Yeah.
and it's not connected to the bonnet at all. But I just think they look fantastic now. I think that now, and
I think they're a
I
brilliant
could-
redesign from where Massey was, because they've grown very stale.
You see, I have a whole thing on Massey design. I have a thing about it.
You have a theory?
I
Or
know I have a thing about it because I think they
there's your side profile.
they were really
Looks a bit weird.
It's a bit.
yeah. And but the cat so
Would
Massey.
you like it to pause it?
Oh, that's a strong shot, that, isn't it? That. Oh, twin beacons. Lovely.
Yeah. I get some points, I get.
But I think sort of Massey design, for me, you're sort of really quite sort of strong when you're in your 3000 series, like your 30s and all that kind of stuff, and you got 3100s, and then you go along, and then you sort of go into your 6000s, and they still look all right. They still look okay, a little bit okay. And then you get into like 6.4s and 7.4s and that kind of stuff with those sort of twin lights down the bottom of the grille. And I thought, yeah, that's real cool looking tractor, that is.
When you see them on the tractor run, you always look.
That's very nice. That's a smart looking. And then they did the weird, mean looking headlights thing with sort of the 6.6 and the 7.6 and carried on. I didn't like that. It just didn't. But I think they've become. I know they've still got the mean looking lights, but I think the whole package suits it better. And now I know people have had these, and the gearbox, because they're a Dyna 7 or a Dyna E-Power is
the
what people...
E-Power the Vario?
No, that's a Dyna VT, which they're now the full range is now, I believe,
It's taken
available.
some time to get a
It's
Vario.
in Dyna VT, which is the one I would have because I've heard a lot of people complain about the power shift boxes, but they are not as good as the Dyna 6 and it's not as reliable. But yeah, one of those, the Dyna VT in it, I just think it looks
I
good.
mean, is the VT actually theirs or a Fendt gearbox?
It is a Fendt gearbox.
Yeah.
This is
The whole back end is Fendt,
it's
isn't
an AGCO machine, so it's got a Valtra engine. But
This is a sleeper. He's trying to get more Fendts in. This is a sleeper.
It's just disguised.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a red Fendt.
But yeah, I think I've had to say the cab of one that sort of had on a nearby farm, and I think the cab is fantastic. You got loads of space, you got all your controls where you want them. It's just really nice.
I will agree
I
with
like
you
it.
on that. When you sit in them,
Yeah.
it's the only... Because everybody's got a command arm of some description
Yeah.
now with a joystick. I would argue it's the only joystick now which is actually pretty good in your hand because it's the
Yeah.
only one that's small.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You know, because they're all getting bigger. The New Holland one is a round thing, which is about that.
Yeah.
It's like your child's lightsaber, if you remember them when they...
Yeah, and the
them.
Fendt Gen 7 one is not a particularly nice to use joystick, but that one is, I think it still is, and so yeah, I think that's cool. I like it. I think, and we have not got a Massey represented on here yet.
Anyway, no.
And I thought we
Do you
should.
think a Massey's going to go cool before John Deere?
It's up to you. I mean, I don't really have that strong opinion either way, but I thought I'd float that one in there because I just think it looks really good.
I agree. I think we need it. It was about time we discussed a Massey.
So yeah.
Matt, what do you reckon?
Can we carry on with the video bit?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
I mean, they look alright as a tractor and stuff. I've never sat in one, so...
Well, everybody was chatting about them when they first came out. Wasn't they?
Yeah.
Of course, this is the 8S. They've now got the 9S as well, haven't they?
And so I think with how they've done the cab, I think I've seen, they reckon the visibility at the front's a lot better because a lot of modern tractors now with all their emissions stuff on that, they feel crowded at the front windscreen.
Yeah.
You sort of can't see where your front wheels are half the time because you're crowded with the exhaust and whatever else bits they have to add on to it for emissions. Whereas I think these are supposed to be more clearer view out. Sort of thing.
Yeah. They've got a very good, unique look, I think.
I like the look of them. Massey's still a entry level in the market kind of tractor.
I don't think there is an entry level tractor in the market anymore.
No.
I don't think that exists. I think if you want a comparison, I think you're either Massey or your New Holland. It's very unusual, I'd have said, for anybody to be both.
That's the thing. It's your lower end of the market, which is
Obviously
Wi-
filmed in
without-
COVID.
Yeah.
it's the sort of brands which aren't paying for badge power, isn't it?
Double
Let's
mast.
be brutally honest.
But-
Anything else you're paying for is a lot of badge power.
Yeah, and I think to a certain extent you are paying for badge because this will be cheaper than your Fendt or your John Deere, but it will do everything that they will do, and this, to a certain extent, for some of it, this one will do quite a bit easier than they will as well. So yeah, that is definitely not a tractor to be sniffed at.
Touchscreen pillar dash.
No, she's
I'm not a big fan of pillar dashes, but touchscreen makes that more usable in my opinion.
I
So
don't know
it gets
whether
a
it is
pass.
touchscreen.
I'm not sure it's
just
touchscreen.
pointing at it.
Was he?
Yeah.
Alright. Shut up me.
So yeah, I
I
think
don't like corner pillars.
yeah, I like that tractor. I think that's allegedly we're getting a demonstration of one, but one day.
Do you think this is iconic as some of the things that we put on the cool wall?
Will this be remembered in 10 years' time?
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
question. I don't doubt it. It's a smart bit of kit, but is it much more than proud?
Maybe not.
The thing is, you really had me sold until Jamie just said, "Is it as iconic?" And it's just hit me as
Yeah, it's
we
maybe
don't
not iconic.
know yet.
But I think the thing that's been holding Massey and to a certain extent New Holland back in their place in the market is that neither of them had updated their cabs for, well, since before the birth of Christ. And, and now they've got a machine on the market that's got a new modern cab and they've got all the toys and it is
It's very stylish as well. That's half the battle.
That is a serious contender of a tractor with the Vario in it. Let's say the power shift, maybe not so much.
So Massey always had that awkward cab where they got like where you sit is higher, everywhere else is lower, and if you hit a bump hard enough, especially if you're tall, your head's gonna hit it.
Yeah. But as we said though, I mean, I've not tried one of these. I know people who have tried one of these and they say these do pull well. And my experience of Massey's is they are a good pulling tractor. They punch well above what it says on the bonnet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, I like Massey. It's you grew up on a red tractor, didn't you?
Yeah.
So they're iconic. Is there it's probably a conversation for another week, but are there Masseys, are there old Masseys that we want to look at that are true icons of, except for real old ones?
I mean, if you get into something like 3060s and 3090s, 6290s, yeah, they're probably slightly more iconic than this is ever going to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, 74, 6490s, 7490s. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably not the most iconic Massey tractor, but I think it is the best yet.
I think we've got to give them a lot of points for the rebrands because they really did look bottom of the barrel for a long while, didn't they? They just didn't look like they'd tried hard enough for a lot of what they were doing. So I think the rebrand they've gone for is really good.
The owl outside has got some opinions on it, hasn't it?
He's definitely got something there.
Yeah. So what should we go for? Chicken and brown?
You go on. Sorry.
No, I think it's a proud with a kind of asterisk that it could be
strong.
It could be very cool.
I think it needs time.
I think it would become, if it's as good as it could be, over time it will become cool.
If that's got good reliability and people actually get them and have them as the mainline tractor, that could get itself a really good reputation.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is they have been out for quite a few years now and there's not really much said about them apart from I've had one on demo, it's quite nice.
Yeah.
Are you going to buy one?
You don't see loads of them
Maybe.
about.
You didn't put mine in.
There we go. Finish on quite a nice little proud. So, yeah, we've had a couple of good contenders in cool and quite a few in proud. And we've had our first trade in, which was very interesting because I never would have said it would have been a Fendt. But after compelling evidence, the court has found guilty of engine failure. So not really much more could be said. So if there's any tractors that you agree with us on this, let us know in the comment. If there are some real passionate 828 drivers out there, let us know and we'll probably laugh because your engine's broken. Yeah, let us know what you think.
Let us know what you want us to talk about.
Yeah,
if anyone's
start
got
leaving
any
some
ideas.
comments. Yeah, give us some ideas.
Yeah, and anyone who commented on the last one, we will get to your ideas. We just didn't fit them in this one.
Yeah. We'll do that every kind of couple of episodes. We'll go through do a comment review or something.
Yeah. Leave a comment, leave a like, and we hope you enjoyed it. And stay subscribed for the next episode. So we will see you in a month.
In the future.
Yeah.